Oh yeah, we back with another episode of The Twisted Tea, where we come to bring you the news with a twist. And today, we're still keeping up with part 2 of the Diddy Files. And in this episode, we're going to be breaking down who else was included inside that Rodney Jones case, who may be getting called to the stand, the other big celebrities in that Rodney Jones case. Oh yeah, let's talk about it. So, we know the tea's hot today. Rodney Jones filed that $30 million case. It's kind of been kept quiet, right? I mean, obviously all the stuff did come out to light, but we haven't heard much about it since. That's what I mean about kept quiet. And in that case, there's been several names brought up, okay? The whole interworkings of Diddy's organization has been questioned and brought up in the case, and I think that right there is the biggest thing in general to the whole case, to what he has going on right now with the feds, okay? Because this case sheds light on who these people are and what they did or allegedly did, probably did.
Mr. Combs telling a judge today that Mr. Combs is not a perfect person. These toxic relationships were mutual, adding, is it sex trafficking if everyone wants to be there?
With that being said, some of the other names, not just big name celebrities, because we went on to state that some of the big name celebrities like Prince Harry, okay, T.D. Jakes, Stevie J, were all present, right? Harry not so much as much, but I'm sure the others were. We even found out about T.D. Jakes having a relationship, well, a little thing with Diddy. Stevie J as well, right? Whatever.
90 minutes ago, the Cuba Gooding Jr. has settled the $6 million civil lawsuit brought against him.
Cuba Gooding Jr., he brought him up as touching, Rodney Jones was getting touched on the boats by Cuban.
But the Oscar-winning actor has been accused by multiple women over the years of sexual misconduct, according to authorities. He pleaded guilty in state court last year to a lesser charge in one case and avoided jail.
One of the biggest names, I think, being brought up in the Rodney Jones case that was a quiet big name brought up is Christina Korn, Diddy's chief of staff. All right, we got to learn who she was and kind of what they said she does, which is make sure that the drugs get where they need to go inside of everybody's fanny packs. So when Diddy's on the move, he can constantly pop an edible, hit the tunchi, do a little of this, snort a little of that. And that was her job, to make sure that these things were in place. And that's what we learned. We also learned that it was her job to make sure that they had designated bottles going designated spots, some marked and mixed, some of them left alone. All right? So she had her hands on all the dirty work. So I'm sure that she'll be getting called to the stand. All right? Now, she's not one of the only people, obviously, that had her hands on the dirty work. Because if they're alleging what they allege, it takes multiple people to make these things happen. All right? The feds are alleging the Rico. It takes multiple people to make a Rico occur. And I think that Rodney Jones's case shed light on that. And other people that were brought up from the Rodney Jones case was like Brendan Paul, whom we seen get arrested. He was supposedly the drug mule, right? So he was the one that would basically be getting it back and forth and bringing it in and going, Corm, here you go, right? So Fahim Mahad, I know, you're like, who's that, right? No, he's the head of security, all right? So if he's head of security for Diddy, what does that tell us? That tells us that the head of security definitely knows what's going on. And that he definitely works on the inner workings to know like things are happening at these parties to make it seem like certain things aren't happening at these parties. And in general, right? He's always there. He sees it. So I do think that it's a possibility he'll get called to the stand. Mr. Jonah alleges he has the power to make people disappear. So yeah, like I said, he's in it. So we'll see if he gets called to the stand too. Let's see. They also went to mention Frankie Santella. Now, Frankie was supposedly just like the other, just like Brendan Paul, where they carried stuff. Frankie pays for the guns and the drugs and all the other things. You know, he keeps the money flowing for him. So it's a possibility he may also get called to the stand, right? Since this is the type of case they're going for. It would make sense that these were the type of people to get called to the stand. Jose Cruz, his tech guy, right? So not to mention, like I said, KK and Diddy's accountant. His accountant, definitely, right? Robin Greenhill, I think it is, would definitely be a person of interest to have called to the stand in a matter like this. So these are like those people who work around your celebrity, who help the celebrity pretty much do whatever it is that they try to do. All right? Now, that's why I think that those people, the Rodney Jones case was huge, and that these people were definitely be getting called. Now, here's the thing, right? We know that Brendan, Paul, he was already picked up. And we know his charges magically disappeared, just magically delicious. They disappeared, okay? And where they went, who knows, right? But we know what that tells us. It tells us somebody was talking. And if somebody was talking, then he's probably been giving up some more stuff too. Who knows? Again, allegedly, right? But his charges are just not where they was. So they might already be working things out with him, okay? So don't be surprised if you catch him on the stand. Now, yes, there were other big name people brought up and spoken about at the parties, like Lucien Grange, the head of Universal, and the former head of Motown Records. They both attended some of those parties. So Rodney Jones felt like, since they attended and they snuck off in rooms with Diddy's for hours, and then came back out, that they also knew what was going on at the parties and had a responsibility to make sure things like that didn't occur at those parties, even though they did. So he threw them in there. Now, I personally think a little bit like, they knew what was going on at those parties because they also were looking to groom and have certain people's talent and probably want a little blackmail on other people too. So, yo, Diddy, what you got on? Thank you. Right? I mean, and they probably was in there fulfilling some of their sexual desires and other things that were going on. Who knows? What we do know is that all of it is ongoing and all of it will continue. But with these people being brought up, this is big. And that this shows the inner workings of what they're building on the Rico. With that being said, the Rodney Jones case, after that, as we continue to go down the timeline of different events taking place, it wasn't very shortly after this that he began to find himself, in custody.
The unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
So March 25th, the raids took place, right? After the raids took place, obviously they got tapes and other things in there. I mean, yeah, they're telling us they got that stuff, but we don't know that for sure, all right? We don't know that for sure. We know that what they did tell us was they got the guns, baby oil, some other mess. So who's to say they really got incriminating evidence, right? How do we know that, again, the tech person didn't keep it and it's not somewhere else stored up? And, that's what kind of took so long to kind of go get him in general, since the raids took place in March and he wasn't arrested until September, right? There was still an ongoing investigation because they thought they were going to get what they were looking for when they went in that day, and that didn't happen. On April 4th, Combs' name, he got thrown in a case with his son's name because his son was out there on a yacht that was chartered by his father, and it was alleged that he was, touching a girl and doing things he wasn't supposed to be doing on the yacht with the girl, not Combs, but the son. So they threw his name, they threw Pops in the investigation, in the allegations as well. And then, shortly after that, motions got filed in April 26th, where they had some legal pushback from his team, and motions were filed to dismiss several elements out of the Dickerson case. Then they went and filed some more stuff to dismiss more things out of the 17-year-old out of Michigan case, right? They're trying to get those things knocked down. They're like, no, if we can get all of these stuff thrown out, then the case that you're building is going to look even worse because most of that stuff right there didn't. Even though it came out, right? It's just the timelines of it and certain other things, they just won't be able to proceed with trying to snatch up a little bit of funds from him for it, right? Now, once all of that started to come along, they saw that he was fighting back. The video, May 17th, CNN aired that video. Now, normally TMZ would get it, someone else would get it, but CNN leaked it on them, okay? Fine. Yeah, the Cassie video, where we seen him in the hallway, and they alleged that Combs was trying to pay off $50,000 to keep that video under wraps. And obviously, whether he did or didn't pay the $50,000, it didn't work, okay? We know that. Now, since we know that it didn't work, we know it was messed up. Now, we wasn't in the room to know what happened before or after. They said that she was running from alleged something that he was forcing her to do in the room. Someone else said that she read some text messages and got mad, so she was trying to leave. We just know it was a messy situation, all right? And that once that came out, it made it so that everything else that Diddy did, he was guilty for. In most people's minds, period. Bang, done, guilty, right? And I want to say that Diddy came out like a little bit before that and aired out all his friends' names anyways. And then they was like, oh, okay, we'll stick up for him a little bit. And then they aired that out and they were like, oh, okay, I guess not. So then he went on, shortly after that, May 2024, the 19th, he had his apology video that he put up on Instagram where most people felt like he wasn't sorry. That he was just saying what he felt like he needed to say. And that he was sorry that it came out and not necessarily sorry about the incident. And my feelings are, strong possibility. Strong possibility, right? Strong possibility. He said he was in a rough patch. I don't know what was better. It was a mess, like I said before. Now, June 10th, right? Eric Adams, the New York mayor, said, Diddy, we need my key back. All right? I need the key back, Diddy. You can't have the key to the city no more, especially after all of these deep, disturbing things that came up about you. Give me the key back, baby. Give me the key back. So he went and asked for the key back. All right? So he had to get the key back then, which he received a year before that. So he didn't have the key long before they took the key away. And then shortly after that, August 26th, they went on to try and throw out some more cases, right? Diddy's team, the lawyer team, they're like, look, man, we got to get some of these cases knocked down. Let's throw out some more cases. So now there's 3 of the cases we've seen come up against him that they've thrown some stuff at to kind of get thrown out, right? So they're giving a lot more pushback, especially if they've came about. And this one was basically, he wanted to throw out one of the cases where, this one he was trying to throw out, it looks like the Rodney Jones case, right? Alleging that there was tall tales, lewd theatrics, legal meaningless allegations, and a bunch of falsehoods to generate hype in media to exploit and extract him. That's what they said, But again, there was a lot of stuff inside that meant a lot in that case, as far as the inner workings of his team. Now, it's yet to say whether that has or hasn't worked, but September 5th, Combs came back to New York to get, to fly home to his new home. And like I said before, I think he knew he was going to jail. So he came back in after paying off his house down in Miami, on Star Island. After paying that thing off, he flew back in to be like, all right, let's deal with this. So September 11th, Don Richards went and filed up on him. I know, you over there going, he keep getting hit. I go, yeah, no, he keep getting hit. That's right. And basically, their lawyer on that one, Diddy, was like, man, how convenient that she decided to file when she has a press tour coming out and her album's coming out right now. What a convenient time to build more buzz around your stuff, right? So they don't believe that, and that's what they shot at that one. But again, shortly after that, 5 days later, he was arrested on September 16th. So, boom, here we are. The timeline broken down for you. Now, there were other little cases that came up that wasn't mentioned in this, where the ex-porn star came out and she also spoke to the fact of the traveling and being sent around. I just don't think that her story holds as much weight to it, so they probably won't be able to use it because she's done interviews on it, which we have on the page, so feel free to check out. So I think that with that being said, in her case, she touched on those things, which is huge because now it shows basically the travel, right? Unless they have a person who is a sex worker or who is someone that's there going in and going, hey, this is me traveling back and forth and this is what he did. That was the one who did it, right? But I don't think they'll use her in court for that because her character, well, it's crap. So they're not going to be able to use her for anything like that because they'll pick that part apart real quick because she admits she knew what she was doing and went for it. So you can't use that, right? Now, with that being said, like I said, the people I think that are going is his team. I think they're going to use a lot of them versus actual celebrities. In the next few days, in the next few weeks, we're going to see a bunch of celebrity names pop up inside of and around Diddy in general. You go ahead and enjoy the day. Thank you for tuning into an episode of The Twisted Tea, where we come to bring you the news with a twist. Look out for the next video where we're going to get into why we think this is a setup. That's right, we think Diddy's being set up. We know he did it as far as the stuff, yeah, but we still think he's being set up, and let's get into why later.